Welcome to the Matador Pencast, a monthly book show from the UK's #1 self-publishing company. Here's your host, writer and broadcaster, Tony Horn.
Hello and welcome to the very first Matador Pencast. We're going to be available around the 1st of every month from the website or on iTunes. And coming up in the first show today, we have Matador News, frequently asked questions, a Matador Masterclass and author interviews. So let's crack on with the very first author interview.
Now on the Pencast, it's time for Meet the Author.
Let's welcome Mark Barrett. Hi Mark, how you doing?
Hi there.
What's the name of your book?
It's The Dreams of the Black Butterfly.
Okay. I'll just leave that hanging out there for people to imagine what that could be. The Dreams of the Black Butterfly. Well, I don't know. I'm guessing it's not a zoological work. I'm guessing it might be something to do with mental health and depression.
You'd be wrong, actually.
Well, I just do that to demonstrate the impact that a title can have, I suppose. But go on, tell all.
Yeah, I mean, I've never thought of it like that, actually. But yeah, it's speculative fiction, really. It falls within the genres of fantasy, science fiction, and a splash of horror as well.
Okay, tell us more.
Well, it concerns an orphan, Peruvian orphan called Moises Quispe, who is one of hundreds employed by a conservation group to search for the mythical black butterfly, which may or may not exist and is alleged to live once every 100 years.
See, this is the thing, isn't it? It's exactly the same with like stand-up comics. If I interview them, they don't want to give too many jokes away because they want you to pay to go and see them, and you can't tell me too much about the book because you know. Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery. So all I can say is the theme is revenge. Really, it's an ecological story as well. It's about Mother Nature tiring of us, screwing up the planet. And is it set in Peru?
It is. Yeah.
I assume you've been.
No, I haven't.
All right.
which is dangerous, isn't it?
You're talking to a man who's been twice, so.
Oh my God, that's scary. Well, no, I haven't. I've tried to do as much research as I could, but if I could afford to go, I would.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting that you've been.
Well, here we go. This interview's not about me, but my father lives there, so this gets even more interesting. So.
Oh, great! Whereabouts does he live?
Well, Lima.
Lima.
But you're in the Peruvian jungle, so.
Iquitos, near there. Yeah.
Okay, and the book is out right now. Is this your only book to date?
It is my first. Yeah, and it is my debut. Yeah.
So what do you do in real life?
I'm a art worker for a sign-making firm. So I work on the Mac. So
all day long you doodle, but all day long you daydream, and then you come home at night and you put a pen to paper, as we used to say, but...
Yeah, you've got me spot on there.
Yeah.
I do a lot of dreaming.
Yeah.
And not a lot of doing.
How long has it taken you to write this, then?
Well, that's embarrassing, really. I think I started it about 9 years ago when I did my MA. I did an MA in creative writing at Sheffield, so I did it for that. It took me 5 years to complete, but I've done other stuff. I mean, it hasn't taken me 9 years to write it. It's just that I've been on and off with it. And
well, I think it's a common trait, to be honest. I think it is a common trait, and it's something that we might explore, like in future. It shows that, the discipline that is required to sort of take a professional, daytime job approach to what is often a nighttime activity to get this thing from start to finish. You've got to have real discipline. I mean, I treat it like a day job at night, and I've made sacrifices. Television is out, Mind you,
it's got to be.
Not much of a sacrifice, is it? But...
No, I'm with you there. It took me years to get that professional approach, and the MA helped me. I used to write. I've written for like 20 years, but I only got serious about it about 10 years ago. And like you say, you have to be professional about it, otherwise you'll get nowhere. And it's hard work, actually getting something out there. It takes a lot of discipline, like you say, and
start to finish with the process with Matador. How long have you been? When did you first sign up?
I think it was last April.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and that in itself has been a real steep learning curve for me, and I found it quite stressful, to be honest, but that's just me. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and there's so many decisions to make and so much involved you don't realise when you set out.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point too, because it's stressful for the individual because you've got to do everything when you self-publish, and that's why we're going to have frequently answered questions, because these guys, they get asked the same questions, very basic questions, but stuff that we don't know until you've entered the process the first time. So
yeah, definitely. And like anything, you have to go through it to learn from it, really. You can tell people, a number of things, but until you actually do it yourself, you don't realise a lot of things in life.
Good luck. The Dreams of the Black Butterfly. Mark James Barrett, set in the Peruvian jungle amongst whispering rumours of the Black Butterfly. I hope it goes well for you, Mark. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Tony, for the opportunity.
FAQs.
So, every month on the Pencast, we're going to do 5 FAQs, frequently asked questions. Some of these are going to be very basic. As the weeks go on, it'll probably get more complex, but this is the stuff that you and I bombard Matador with every single day, stuff that you just don't know the answer to until you've done your first book. Question number 1, how do I get an ISBN? OK, if you're using a publisher to produce your book, they can assign an ISBN for you. If you're doing it all yourself, or if you just want to use one of your own ISBNs, as a publisher's ISBN will be registered to their company, then you can buy an ISBN. Visit the Nielsen UK ISBN agency to buy either a single ISBN or ISBNs in blocks, depending on how many books you're going to be publishing. Number 2 on the FAQs, how does my book become available to buy online? Well, once you've registered your ISBN, you need simply to supply all the information about it to a data aggregator, like Nielsen. That sounded good. Then they can send the information about your book out to the book trade. Again, if you're using a publisher and one of the publisher's ISBNs, then they can do this for you. Once the information has been sent out, your book will start appearing on sites like Amazon.co.uk. Waterstones and Foils will also be able to look up your book using their in-house systems. It just happens, trust me. Number 3 on the FAQs, what does POD mean? POD means print on demand, a printing model that means you have books printed as you need them rather than printing a bulk run up front. This printing model is great for niche books if you don't expect a huge demand from bookshops, but a retailer will rarely buy a print on demand title unless they have a customer order. As a POD book is sold on a firm sale basis, which means it cannot be returned, whereas titles that are printed in bulk and distributed are supplied on a sale or return basis, which means a bookshop can return unsold stock for a full refund. Number 4 on the FAQs, do I get paid if someone borrows my book from a library? It's a great question. If you sign up for public lending rights, or PLR, you'll get paid a certain amount each time someone orders a copy of your book. At the moment, this is 7.67 pence. You'll then get a statement each year showing the amount of loans you've had, and you'll be paid for all of those loans. Just look up PLR, go to the website and start registering now. Last one, number 5 on the FAQs for this edition of the Pencast. Do I need a barcode on the back of my book? Great question. If you want your book to be available via the book trade, bookshops and retailers, for example, then you should have a barcode on the back of your book, as well as the price and ISBN, so that books can be scanned at the till point and sold. There'll be more FAQs next time on the Pencast.
Matador Masterclass.
Every time on the Pencast, we'll have a Matador Masterclass. And here's our first one. We have Assistant Marketing Manager Alice Graham asking the questions to Group Marketing Manager Sarah Taylor.
Why should authors use social media?
I think it's really great for authors to use social media, not just so that they can promote their book, but also so that readers can find out more about their favourite authors and who they are as people, rather than just as writers. For writers, it's a really good way of promoting their books in unorthodox way. So not just, here's my book, you should buy it, but also this is something that's happening in the world today and here's why my book is relevant to that. I've got a unique special offer that I want my readers to be able to use, and this is how you can use it. And again, also showing off kind of their more human side. This is my writing desk, look how messy it is. Or this is my writing companion, a lovely cat. Or just, again, showing who they are as a person rather than just they sit at a desk, they write books. And I think readers really like to see that. They want kind of to connect with their favourite authors. I know, for example, my favourite authors, I always follow them on Twitter because I like to see who they are as people. Like I say, not just as people who sit at a desk typing all the time.
What social media sites should authors use?
It depends on the book, really, because some books will be better for different social media channels, in that if it's like a cookbook or an illustrated book, authors might like to use Pinterest or Instagram, which are obviously more graphics heavy. But I think the two kind of mainstays of social media are definitely Twitter and Facebook. Twitter's really good for short, timely updates. It's quite easy to build up followers on Twitter. It's a bit harder on Facebook, but Facebook's really good for embedded content, so things like videos, photos, links as well. So I would say they are kind of the two main sites to use. And for authors who are perhaps publishing alongside a full-time job, you're not going to have time to update several different accounts on a regular basis. So it's a kind of a good idea, I think, to choose the main two ones and stick with those.
When's a good time for authors to start using social media?
The bulk of your social media work is going to be once your book is published, but it's a good idea to set up your accounts before your book is ready. Maybe once you have a cover image ready, so you can start kind of building up a buzz, showing off the cover artwork, and generally kind of spreading the word and getting the word out there and building up some followers and likes and fans before the book is even ready.
How often should authors update their social media channels?
Again, it depends on the author, because an author will have different time constraints to another author. But I think it's good to commit to posting regularly, at least, for example, once a week, 2 or 3 times a week, once a fortnight. There's nothing worse than having to churn out a certain amount of content that you can't reach. If you want to do 5 tweets a day, they're going to get quite boring quite quickly. But at the same time, it does look a bit strange if you go for like weeks or months at an end without posting anything. So it is a good idea to say, right, once a fortnight or once a week, I will make sure that I do a post on all of my social media channels, just to remind people that you are still alive.
What are the big do's and don'ts of using social media?
Oh, good question. The big don'ts, I'm going to start with, don't be a spam bot. It shouldn't all be buy my book, or tweeting like different people saying the same thing. I also wouldn't recommend that authors tweet about what they have for breakfast, or have an hourly update on the weather. You want to keep it interesting. The do's are keep it interesting, keep it informative, keep it, again, connected to the wider world and the wider publishing community, not just about your book. Show off your human side, but don't kind of swear blind and sound a bit silly. You kind of got to maintain a good balance of professional but also fun and human. I think authors like J.K. Rowling do that well. It's a good idea to post at times when people are going to be seeing it. So maybe during lunch, when people are on their lunch breaks, eating their sandwich and looking through their social media, or when they may be commuting, so like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when they're on their way home, or they've just got home and they've got their first cup of tea of the day and they're kind of sitting down and having a chance to look through their channels and kind of catch up with the world. So kind of choose your times carefully, I would say.
For more on ghostwriting, please check out TonyHornBooks.com.
Every month on the Pencast, we'll round up Matador news. And let's start today by offering congratulations to Victoria Blake and Bill Page, authors of Far Away and One Summer in Arcadia, respectively. Both have been shortlisted for the Historical Novel Society Indie Award 2016. The Historical Novel Society seeks to support writers of new historical fiction through a series of competitions for previously unpublished or self-published historical novels. From a shortlist, 4 titles will be taken forward as finalists to be judged at the Oxford Historical Novel Society Conference in September. We, of course, wish Victoria and Bill the very best of luck. Now, every year, as the UK's most widely recommended self-publishing service, we're often out and about talking about self-publishing at conference and seminars. And we are delighted that following the success of the 2015 events, Writing East Midlands have partnered with Loughborough University to give the East Midlands writing community access to leading professionals from their industry at the conference on the 5th of March. And our assistant marketing manager, Alice Graham, is delighted to have been asked to be part of the panel. And on that note, we announce our very first winner of the Customer Service Award, and it goes to Alice Graham herself. She's received fantastic feedback from you for her work with authors over the past few weeks, and Alice says she's thoroughly enjoyed working with you on a daily basis on different projects. It's lovely to be the first winner of the award. And Matador Troubador strives to offer an open and honest service to all its customers, so we welcome your feedback and give it the utmost importance as we go forward. And next time on the Pencast, we should have a different name for you based on your recommendations. You can feed back to us, of course, via the website.
Now on the Pencast, it's time for Meet the Author.
So it's a warm welcome to the Pencast, and, well, we're going overseas to Germany. Please welcome Brigitte Schön. Hello, Brigitte. Guten Tag.
Hello, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Well, let's start with the title of your book. What's it called?
It's called Bruce Dickinson Insights, an interpretation of his solo albums.
OK, so Bruce Dickinson is best known as the lead vocalist of Iron Maiden. Why is a lady from Heidelberg writing about Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden? How did you get into that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Huh? So, to start with, I like heavy metal, and I love Iron Maiden for 25 years, I think. It was in the late 90s of the last century that I discovered them. And since then, I'm addicted, kind of. And it was about 5 years ago that I discovered the solo songs of Bruce Dickinson and was immediately fascinated by them. And to write about it, that was another thing, because about 4 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to translate a couple of Bruce songs in German. And the problem is, when you want to, if you want to have a really good translation, you have to understand the meaning of the lyrics or the poem or what else. So I had to dive into the background immediately, because the very first lyrics I took a look at were from the Chemical Wedding album. And actually, after all, I have to say the lyrics are the most challenging of the whole solo work. So it was hard work from the beginning.
Have you had any contact with Bruce or the band? Do they know this book exists?
I had a meeting with Bruce, because it's about, I think 4 years ago, something like this, or 3.5, I'm not sure. I met Bruce once because he gave me a flying lesson in a simulator of a Boeing 747 at Heathrow. And there I gave him a very, very raw version of some translations and no, not translations, in fact, interpretations, but I don't know. It was really a raw version.
So what's the standout point in this book? If we read this book, what insight, if you like, are we going to get? What are we, for Iron Maiden fans, what are we going to learn? I mean, it's beyond a translation, it's an interpretation. Tell us something that is going to blow people away from an Iron Maiden song that was just a loud lyric that perhaps people couldn't hear because the music was so loud. Just give us a little insight.
All right, I begin perhaps with the vast field of philosophy, religion, life and death, and so on. And there are really insights of Bruce. I think he had some insight into certain philosophies, and he worked them up into his songs. So there are, what was it? William Blake, alchemy, Aleister Crowley. So the subjects are highly, philosophical, spiritual.
Which is fascinating because, if I did a straw poll, people might say some song titles to me. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, and yet there's deep philosophical, spiritual meaning in all of this. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, but, all right. So, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is not in my book, not involved, because the reason is another one. Because later it was an Iron Maiden song, in fact.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sure.
I didn't mention it. No, it's more like this. Everyone is in search of a goal or some sort of enlightenment or something like this. Why are we here and stuff? Yes, and so Bruce, I think he as well. He searched for something to understand the world, to understand life and death and all this, and he worked it out in his songs too. And I think there you get some ideas, perhaps in some sort of right direction, or some good ideas to have.
And last question. Why has a lady from Germany chosen Matador, UK self-publishing company, to get her story out there?
Yeah. I decided to write the book in English because I thought that I would have the allowance to reprint some original lyrics, and so I prepared some lecture some extract to read, and so after that I decided to publish it in English, and I checked the internet for some publishing house, and then I saw some very good, excellent comments about Matador and the self-publishing, and I read the information on their website and was quickly fascinated, and and after the experience of publishing with Matador, I'm very satisfied with the result.
Excellent. Well, continued success. Fascinating to talk to you. A great topic, a unique angle on self-publishing coming in from outside the UK. This is Brigitte Schön, so that is BRIGITTESCHO umlaut N. Lovely to talk to you, Brigitte. Auf Wiedersehen.
Entirely my pleasure. Thank you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you.
And that's your lot for the very first Matador Pencast. Thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next time.
The Matador Pencast is written and produced by Sarah Taylor and Horley Media. If you'd like to feature next time, please follow the link on the Matador website. And don't forget to check out more on your host at tonyhornbooks.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the first of every month as the Matador Pencast continues.